Automotive is 10 years behind. I could be like I'm from the future. No amount of marketing makes up for a badly priced car with stock photos.
If you get a pitch from any of these companies and they use the word tool in their pitch, just tell them that your dog died.
I had built a website for nerds, not for truck buyers.
Innovation really, for the most part, has not really existed in the automotive space, right? And it seems like every single time that we're like on the cusp, like, oh, this could be good, the dealers go screw it up.
And I said, look, what am I missing here? Like, I'm in the automotive space.
Welcome to Driven Loyalty, the podcast with proven strategies and expert insights tailored for automotive professionals looking to maximize retention, enhance customer experience, and drive sustainable growth. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Automotive Nation? It's Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Driven Loyalty, where I get to talk to, well, anybody and everybody I want to talk to when it comes to what the requirements and efforts needed to make loyal customers. And I have a great guest today. I'm super excited about getting into our topic. We're going to talk a lot about technology, what has happened, what's happening now, ultimately what needs to happen to create more loyal customers. But hey, we can't make great content like this without our sponsor. And here's a quick message from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Podium. So here's a question for you. What would it mean for your dealership if you had one more employee who worked 24/7, never took a break, and was focused solely on turning every lead into a yes, even the after-hour ones, into test drives, a sale, and ultimately more revenue? Well, let's meet Jerry, Podium's brand new AI BDC. Jerry is a lead conversation machine, ready to jump on every lead that comes in instantly. He can answer questions, keep those leads engaged, and even schedule test drives, all without any direct human supervision. And here's the best part. With a seamless handoff to your sales team, your customers will never even know they were interacting with an AI. If you're curious about how Podium's AI BDC can help you move more cars, check it out at podium.com/SWJ. That's for Strategy with Jason. That's podium.com/SWJ, or just hit the link in the show notes below. Hey, what's going on, Automotive Nation? I'm Jason Harris, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Driven Loyalty, where I get to talk to, well, anybody and everybody I want to talk to when it comes to what is needed to actually drive loyal customers and create those loyal customers in our dealerships. And if you guys notice, I didn't use the R word. I didn't say retention. That's a different podcast. You can go join that guy's podcast. No, this podcast is about creating loyal customers. And I got some really cool topics we're going to do. We're going to dive a little bit into technology. We're going to go back a decade, and then we're going to bring it forward. And then we're going to take it maybe another decade forward. But we're going to talk about the technology required at your operations to make more loyal customers. I have a great guest with me today. Super excited to actually have this person on. We recently met at an event in Florida, and we just, like automotive people do, we just hit it off. So I have the one, the only, the oh so famous, he paid me to say this, Adam, the Savvy Dealer. What's up, Adam? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Was that okay?
I'm doing good.
That was a good enough intro? Is that all right? Okay,
perfect.
Good. So I'll make my bucks. My $5 you owe me for saying that? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, guys. He didn't pay me to say that.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, thanks, man, for taking the time to join me today. I am super excited about getting in today's conversation. We love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story because, I am just fundamentally fascinated and don't believe anybody just wakes up one day and goes, yeah, the automotive industry, that's where I'll go make a career. So let's start there, Adam. How in the world did you start in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
So again, I was born into it, which I know is one of the common ones. So my father was one of the early guys at ADP, which became CDK. Mm-hmm. And then he worked there, but then he eventually spun off and started the Gillrie Institute, where he focused on DMS negotiating. At that point, that all your technology was just in the umbrella of DMS. And so, from a kid, I would do database cleanups. I would work under the table, break dealerships, and have to sort it out. And then, after college or, frankly, during college, I was in helping negotiate, tech contracts, trying to explain all the new stuff that these guys are saying came out in the last 5 years.
What year was that, by the way? I'm curious.
2000. So 2001, I started. So that's when I was actually dealer facing.
Yeah.
In the 90s, I was the one,
Taking all the Excel sheets.
Yes.
I mean, that's about the time I got into the business, I remember, when I first started in 99, the dealership I was working for didn't even have a website yet.
No.
It was a DMS, and they had just brought on board this new thing called the CRM.
Yeah.
And it was atrocious looking, and there were still guys in there that were like, I'm going to use my Rolodex, so screw you, I ain't going to do that. I really, really remember that whole era of automotive. It was good times. So real quick. So you got into that. All right. Now, what made you decide to stay in automotive?
I did leave for 9 months. It did happen. It was very normal. It was very predictable. And I don't know. I just, it didn't appeal. I love the
I get it, man. Once it's in your blood, right?
Yeah. I was in the data center world. My number one, I was going after GoDaddy. We had to try and unseat GoDaddy as the big DNS provider, the big data center person. And all I could think of every time is, man, if dealers were 10 years further ahead, they would dominate. And then but every one of my problem solving was like, how would I apply this to a dealership? And then I eventually, I said, I need to go back. Like I remember the distinct conversation. I remember sitting at dinner with my parents. My dad was still doing the DMS consulting, and Auto Trader came up and their strategy. And I sat there and said, holy cow, this was like 10 years ago in the data center world. Automotive is 10 years behind. I could be like I'm from the future if I just show back up and explain where marketing is now outside of automotive and where it's going to be in 10 years.
Sure.
So that was it. I was back in.
Dude, once it's in your blood, you really can't get it out. Trust me, I've tried. I mean, even after I sold my dealership, I'd like try to retire for like a few months. Like that didn't even happen. And it was like, a bunch of people like, hey, you're so good at the marketing. Why don't you come do some stuff like that? And it was just, just like that episode from God of War, just sucks you right back in. I just got sucked right back into the business. But you know what? The amount of time that both of us spent in this industry, we've got an opportunity to kind of see, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm not talking about the amazing clips, but the actual good, bad, and ugly. When it comes to technology, in the automotive space, man, I've seen some good products. I've seen some great products. I've seen some serious duds, just total explosions, right? Let's get into that. Over the last 10 years, all right, how have you seen the dealership tech stack? Well, no, I mean, I went to 10 years. I guess probably 20 years.
Yeah, I can go even further back.
No, I'm for the last couple of decades. How have you seen that dealership tech stack evolve?
It's been massive false starts. And, I was there with this is going to date me, RGS, the Reynolds RGS launch. We represent a lot of dealers in that transition. We'll go even earlier, the Jupiter project with CDK or ADP. We were a consultant on that as well. I think the best way to describe it is, remember when Disney couldn't make an animated movie, so they bought Pixar?
Yes.
That's been the state of the industry for 20, 30 years. Is this the people that built CDK's initial platform are long dead, long retired. And so they glue it together. They do their re-releases on DVD of the same old. And again, I'm talking more, I want to be careful how I say all this, but for a lot of these vendors, it's safer to keep releasing the same thing than the redesign. And many of them have done the redesign. So RGS, I remember being in a meeting with the senior VPs of Reynolds at the time, and they're like, look, we built the perfect accounting system. It's got some bugs, but it's finally got debits and credits. And I sat there and said, how many controllers in our business got an accounting degree?
Right.
They didn't know the answer. I said, how about none? Okay, so you've built a system that works for accountants, most of my office controllers started, their first job at a dealership and were gradually taught how to do the accounting, and they learned it the Reynolds way, which is completely different than the RGS Reynolds way. So like you fundamentally misunderstood the level of the employee. So now every dealership's got to go hire a CPA to go in and run the books. Like
I remember those days, man. I remember.
You got to think it through. And on top of it, I moved from the consulting to the software development side. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I did it, we're releasing updates every week on the software side where we did a web platform. And I had this one little Honda store in like Montana. And they're like, listen, we don't need any of your updates. Leave us alone. I was like, okay, no problem.
Just leave us alone.
I was like, that's fine. Like, sounds good, because I'm trying to change everything. Every time you make a change, something breaks. Every time Apple makes a change, something breaks. So I'm sitting here like releasing a change, something breaks. And I look at this little Honda store in the middle of nowhere. For 3 years, 0 support tickets, 0 complaints, 0 issues, because I didn't touch it. So there's some value in a platform you never update, never breaking. Or at least it breaks the same way it's been breaking for 20 years. And it's so much cheaper to just maintain 30-year-old stuff that breaks in predictable ways than to try to innovate and improve it and have it, take the whole system down by mistake because someone pushed code.
Well, and that's true. And I love the fact that you're kind of hinting at the innovation aspect of it, right? Because innovation for a lot of technology has not been, let's see, I'm trying to think of the political way of saying this. Okay, innovation really, for the most part, has not really existed in the automotive space, right? And it seems like every single time that we're like on the cusp, like, oh, this could be good, the dealers go screw it up. And I know you're out there watching, listening right now. You might be thinking about turning this off. Don't, okay? Because let me explain. All right. We as dealers, which I get it. We're the customers. We're paying for this thing. All right. And what we do is we start making requirements and demands. And I'll give you like one of the most simple ones. Okay. I remember, all right, when I first got my first dealer.com website. Okay. Let me tell you right now that the reporting from there never used the word leads. Actually, it was either form fills or inquiries. That's what it was. All right. So that technology, that's what it was. It was the intent of like, hey, you got a question? You ask me and I'll try to provide you an answer back. Right. But no, at some point in time, there's like, oh no, I need leads. Like then the forms went huge. Now let me ask you for my first name, last name, email address, phone number, shoe size, birth type, firstborn and blood type, just so that I can get an opportunity to talk to someone. Well, now I got all this information on this person. So now I can call them a lead, right? Like and that's just one other example. I remember another one when live chat came out, right? When live chat came out, I was like, yes, finally, someone's going to be on my website, be looking at my product. They're going to hit a button. They're going to get into immediate conversation with somebody at my dealership. They're going to build some rapport. Boom, they're going to come in. Instead of it being a 3.5-hour transaction, it'll be an hour long, right? This is awesome. Nope. Us dealers, we wanted leads. So we had to change the whole thing again so that we could take that and shove it into anyways, I digress. I'll get off my box. Go ahead, Adam.
No, it's so true. Well, and again, the dealer that convinced me to build a web platform, before I built it, I remember sitting in a meeting with the new website he was going to go with, and they were in real time redesigning the website to fit his demands. He's like, I need pop-ups. I want them to flash. Can we move the pop-up around so they can't close it? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And then finally, after like 20 minutes of like more yellow, more blinking, he turned to me and says, Adam, what are your opinions? I said, I think these are all terrible ideas, and I would never visit your website. And like, you could have dropped a pin, because no one talked to him that way. And I love this guy, to this day. But I said, look, you are thinking what you want. You are a weirdo car person. Huh?
No, you're absolutely right. That's it. You were thinking what you wanted. And I think that has been the major thing with technology kind of in the space for a long time. We want to build, dealers want technology that's for me, not for my consumer. There's no North flag. There's no huge point, right? I mean, look, the title of this podcast is Driven Loyalty, all right? If we literally approached our technology, our people, and our processes, because I think all three of them have to work in sync with each other, all right, with the intent to creating loyal customers,
Yes.
I don't think half the technology that we've seen over the last 2 decades would have even been built.
No. Well, and that's the perspective change that I've seen in my life is I was the consultant going, man, why is the technology so bad? Why 10 years later am I seeing the exact same pitch from these DMS vendors it's revolutionary version, 2005 at the time. And I was like, this is exactly like 1990 V3 or whatever the name they didn't use then. I was like, it doesn't make any sense. And then I remember a dealer asked me after I got in the software side and started developing, he's like, look, I got a new GM. He's never been to NADA. You've been every year for 30 years. And I'm dating myself, 20 something years, maybe 10, who knows. I said, can you go and take him around and help him visit vendors and help him find good ideas? I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, I haven't put the dealer hat on ever at this show, but I did it. Now with the back end that I know how software is built, I know how to build it. And now I'm sitting with the dealer and I look at all these products. I'm like, so this product here, this is because your sales manager doesn't check any of his reports. So this product will do that for him. This product here is because people don't know how to work their phone, so it'll do that for them. This digital BDC is because your BDC
I love that you're calling it a product, but really the word that they use is tool.
Tool, yeah,
right?
Tool. This tool solves your inefficiency here. Instead of you getting your team on the right page, you plug this tool in for 6 months and then they don't have to do their job. Like I love launching BDCs and watching 12 salesmen congregate inside the showroom to hang out because the BDC is going to make all the phone calls now. I'm like,
there's probably a tool for that, right? Can we just find another tool for that?
There's a tool for that. And so I've lost clients. I lost a store because he said, I need a pop-up on my website. I need it done this month. And I said, I'm not building a pop-up. I'm not doing it. He's like, well, these work. I said, Google's come out and said, don't do pop-ups. We will penalize your website.
The data's there, 100%.
The data's there. I have a limited development window. I'm trying to comply with all the new site speed requirements that Google's shoving down our throats so that we get in front of our customers. And so we parted ways, and I hated it. I liked working with him, but at some point I gotta make something the customers will like, or it doesn't matter. Right? Like 100%. I got to make the customers have a good experience, or it doesn't matter what, I can't grow your sales, and that's what needs to happen.
Well, and look, I think we're getting to kind of our next topic, which I love this, because we're going to start getting into why does the tech stack currently suck now?
Yeah.
Right. And I think we're hinting at it. If you guys haven't listened to this, there's a couple of things that we've covered, right? One of the reasons is because I don't think technology was built for the consumer. It was built for the dealership. That was a problem, right? I mean, think back to the e-price button.
Yeah.
Put this magical button on your website. It's going to increase your leads by 45%. Yeah. All right. But you're going to piss off every single customer in the world because you'll never actually give them an e-price.
Yeah.
You'll just tell them to come into the dealership. Anyways, I digress. Okay. So technology that wasn't for the customers. Then we got into tools. Man, we had a tool for everything. And then when the tool created a problem, that's okay. We got another tool for that problem. Right. And then I think finally is kind of what we're seeing. Today is just kind of those two things finally coming to tuition, right? And it's just that we're not being data driven. The data's there and we're completely ignoring it. And look, and guys, if you're out there watching this right now, this ignoring data is not a dealer thing, okay? OEMs have done this for years as well. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. Scion, does anybody remember those? You remember the Scions, right?
Oh yeah.
Biggest data ignoring, debacle of the entire industry, right? The data showed that the people buying Scions were over the age of 4. Yeah. They completely ignored it and spent millions and millions of dollars, all right, advertising a vehicle to people in their 20s who didn't even have money to buy a vehicle in the first place. I mean, they were putting millions of dollars into raves and parties and getting young influencers from MTV. I mean, they did the stupidest shit in the world. Yeah. And the data was very clear that's not who was buying them. And ultimately, we lost the entire nameplate because these two things weren't communicating with each other. So anyways, I digress. Adam, now since we kind of all right, build tech for ourselves, not for the customer. All right. We got into the age of tools for everything. And all right, now we're in the age of data ignorance. I'll go with that. Yeah. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, and I want to hit a couple things here. So my brother, who's still doing he used to work for LinkedIn. He was recruited by LinkedIn. And I said, look, what am I missing here? Like, I'm in the automotive space. What is it that Microsoft knows at LinkedIn, this $1 billion company, that we keep getting wrong on marketing? He's like, well, it's pretty simple. I was like, sure it is. Okay. He's like, LinkedIn doesn't see marketing and sales as separate things. It's a giant money engine. You put money in one end and more money comes out the other. And so at every step of that process, there's benchmarks. Like, what are we expecting marketing to deliver in impressions? What are we expecting them to deliver in clicks? What are we expecting web traffic to look like? What is the leads we're expecting? And then how are we expecting sales to handle those leads? What are the things sales is doing that's affecting the lead generation? And it's a funnel. And at every stage in that funnel, we know that if a customer walks into a dealership, half the time we expect to close them in a car. Half the time they're going to walk back out that door. So that's our expected benchmark. And then we work to improve those numbers without breaking the system.
Yes.
And so it set me down a rabbit hole of data where it's like, okay, well then if this is true, then marketing's never enough because I'm blindly marketing. And I said this at the conference, it's like, no amount of marketing makes up for a badly priced car with stock photos.
That's 100% true.
None of it. And very little marketing is needed to sell a mispriced car $10,000 below its actual
or
price.
Even more so, there's no AI product in the world that will fix that problem for you.
No, there's not. And I did a call 20 minutes before this call where he's like, I don't understand it. I undersold compared to the stores around me. I had a terrible November. I said, well, let's look at the numbers. I said, look, you had 3% less leads. Okay. You had 1% less web traffic. Okay. So I don't see a lot there. You had a 20% drop in appointment sets, and you closed half of your phone call leads, half, which is significantly off from last month.
Yeah.
I said, so how are we leaving voicemails? Like the conversation went from marketing to BDC
to process to people, right? Those three things have to be in line.
Yeah. And so we bring the team in and we're like, okay, what's happening? Well, the new iPhone iOS 26 is screening all our calls. I said, how do you start your call? This is so-and-so from Brighton Ford, or Colorado Ford, whatever the name is. It's okay. Start with casual. Hey, Tom, this is Bill calling. Let's try that. Let's focus on where the problem is versus me saying, well, why don't we throw $10,000 more at marketing? Why don't we throw $10,000 more at
exactly, because honestly, for the last 10 years, that has been the answer. We'll just throw more money at it. We'll just hire more bodies. We'll do so on and so forth, right? Look, I've had the opportunity to record almost 2,000 episodes or just over, something like that, all right, of this series. And she's given me the opportunity to talk to some really amazing operators, right, in our industry. And I'm a bit of a patterns guy. I like to see patterns, right? Yeah. And I'll tell you, the most successful operators I've ever talked with, knowingly or unknowingly, have this kind of natural ability to gravitate towards what the data says and then quickly make a adjustment to process or people and technology. All right, to continue to kind of move it forward. Like it's funny. It's like some of them are actually very aware that they do it, and then other ones have absolutely no clue that they're doing it. It's just kind of like it's kind of a secondhand thing. But and that's kind of getting into kind of our next topic for today, or where those opportunities, right? If we can get away, if we can get into being a data-driven decision, company and industry. All right, here's my concern, Adam. We talked a little bit about this when we were in Florida together, right? Is AI. I'm all for it. I'm totally down for it, right? My concern is that we're going to do what we did the last 2 decades and turn it into a tool and make it all about us, the dealer, and not about our customer. Yeah. Right? The data's there. If we follow the data, AI can really be huge here, but I'd love to get your thoughts on what's required to do that.
Oh, it's so interesting because we're now finishing phase 1 of turning phone calls and lead submission responses over to AI.
100%. There's some great companies out there doing it, and maybe not so great companies.
Well, and again, the consumers are changing too. So I had a call with another store. I says, look, we just fired our AI company. You guys loved them 3 months ago. You loved them. You told me that they were the answer. I said, why did you fire them? He said, well, I'll be honest with you. I'm failing all of my mystery shops. I was like, what? I'm failing the mystery shops with the tool that my manufacturer recommended I buy. I was like, okay, that's pretty strong. But I also always ask, so you have so many leads, you don't have the time to reach out to these people personally? Like we're so drowning in leads that we can't put someone with a personality on a phone and just talk the talk
Yes.
to see how they're doing. I mean, and let's just say this from the fundamentals. I buy cars from dealerships with my friends working at. People come to me to buy cars because I'm in the business and I'm their friend.
Well, it's building that rapport.
Huh?
It's building that rapport. And I will say, like, there are a truck I bought about a year ago. Didn't know that I was actually communicating with one of the AI companies I actually happen to work with, funny enough, right? And it was, I will tell you, I have seen some solutions, not all, because not all AIs are made equal right now. I can guarantee anybody out there watching, listening right now, there's a lot of stuff that are built off the back of other solutions that are not real solid LLMs or anything along that period, or along that. But it did a better job of doing rapport than I would say most salespeople. It asked me why I was looking for a truck. Because I just moved to the area. Oh yeah, where'd you move from? I moved from Toronto. Yeah. What do you like about Nashville so far? I said, I love to fish. Well, that's great. I didn't even know, straight up, because that's how good it was, right? But look, rapport building is a process, right? If the technology is built with the customer in mind to build the rapport, not get into a transaction, then you won't run into the problem that you were talking about.
Well, and I may have talked this before, but I remember calling Papa John's. I'm 15 minutes away. I got kids in the car. I'm trying to get there. And Papa John's is AI. And I know it because it keeps typing on the keyboard. And it keeps asking me questions. And it keeps trying to upsell me to the family package deal. I need 2 stupid pizzas. I'm going to be there in 14 minutes now, and that wants me to read my credit card over the phone, where when I normally call Papa John's, like, hey, what do you want? I need 2 pizzas. I need one to be Hawaiian, one to be pepperoni. All right, be ready in 7 minutes. Hangs up the phone on me.
And then that's where the technology gets me worried, right? Because what we're doing is we're building technology for ourselves. Their objective was, I need to create this workflow of a process that's going to increase my upsells, but in return, actually screw up the entire experience. When you said, Adam, you said it clearly. Hey, I need 2 large cheese pizzas. I'll be there in 14 minutes. I'm looking up your phone number right now. Is this so-and-so, this address? Yes. Hey, do you want us to use the card on file? Please.
Done.
Yeah.
You didn't make my life easy. Some executive is like, oh man, we're finally selling more family plans but like you made a horrible experience. Well, that's, I go and mystery shop my own clients. I don't always tell them I'm doing it, but I am sold all day long with how amazing their service department runs and how everyone loves them and they've got such a great experience. And then I send my wife out to go actually take her truck in or something. And then the real test begins. I'm about to show you how bad it really is. Do you believe me, or are you going to try and sell me a second time? Because again, if you're successful, I'm successful, we're all winners, So, and I think to me, the great value of AI is it's going to make software, it's already begun, what cost $1 million costs $10,000 to make now. So I'm having wonderful fun making all the tech that I was never able to afford to make simultaneously. But the other thing that I'm using it for that I think owners are messing out on is I let AI read my data now, and I let it tell me what I need to focus on. Does that make sense? Like I got data reports coming out of 14 different dashboards. I have now trained AI to tell me where there might be a fire. And then I go look where that fire might be. And I ignore the 1% difference in traffic. Back to just this analysis. Something happened with our appointment set rate. I'm not going to go focus on, am I buying enough keywords for this model or that model? Because there's a 1% difference between last month. So once I have those benchmarks set, and this is kind of the cheat code, once I know that I should see 30% closing from my phone calls, and I've dropped down to 16% or 15%, I know I can teach an AI to send me a text message that I got a problem brewing before my month is ruined.
100%. That's just saying the technology is amazing. But again, if we do what we did the last 2 decades and we treat it like a tool, which I think a lot of companies out there are right now. Seriously. Actually, by the way, if you're out there watching and listening right now, if you get a pitch from any of these companies and they use the word tool in their pitch, just tell them that your dog died and you got to leave and you got to turn off this phone call right now. All right. That's one. And then the other one, like we can't, like as dealers, guys, I'm telling you out there, you're watching, listening to this right now. I'm telling you, this can't be a piece of technology for you. All right. I've had an opportunity to literally go and visit, talk to, and work with some of the best operators in this industry. And one thing they do, and they do consistently, is they make the customer the center of every decision they make. When it comes to their technology that they use, how does that affect our customer? When it comes to their people, how does that help our customers? When it comes to those processes, does that process make it easier for the customer? When you put your customer at the center of this, and guys, this isn't just an automotive thing. This is any vertical out there. You can talk to any successful company to do the exact same thing. All right. You will make more money and be more successful at it. Anyways, I digress. Adam.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true, and I think you've got to constantly. Well, and again, one of the saddest moments, well, wasn't the saddest, but disappointing moments. The first web platform I built and I launched it, and they had this great tool called Hotjar. I think it still exists, but it records what everyone does on the website, and I was so impressed. I solved so many technological search elements in the search bar when they're trying to buy a car. I was very impressed with myself, and then I watched a bunch of 50-year-old truck buyers scroll down, scroll up, hover the mouse, and leave my website. I'm like, what's going on here? I had built a website for nerds, not for truck buyers.
There you go.
And I realized, like, oh my goodness, I have made these, like, again, if you're a nerd, you're gonna love my website, but that's not our customer. So I had to completely revamp the whole design to make it stupid simple.
Yes. Because
stupid simple was what my customer was looking for. So I can make fun of these guys all I want. Like, oh, this guy barely knows how to use a website. He's buying a $120,000 truck and he's got four fleet vehicles that he's getting picked up at the same time. Oh, gee, I wonder if he still knows how to, but he's not nerdy like me, He's not nerdy like me, that customer. So yeah, it was just the other. And this goes to kind of the earlier question, why does technology suck? Mm-hmm. Let's remember who a lot of times the customer actually is. And this may or may not shock dealers. The real big money is the manufacturer. And I remember I had a meeting with the VPs of one of these big web companies that will remain nameless. And I said, look, they were giving me the sneak peek of the product that was rolling out in weeks. And I was like, this thing, I said, talked about it. And I had all the developers there. And they're like, look, we're gonna take you behind the curtain. It says, number one thing you gotta realize in this business is the manufacturer is the actual customer. I said, okay. I said, we've designed this product that we can roll it out and replace our current product with 2,000 stores within weeks. Everyone will be on the new product. I said, oh, okay, awesome. Like, that's amazing. I said, so how do you customize it? Oh, it's not customizable at all. I said, what? No, there's no customization. They can put in a support ticket, but the manufacturer wants everything to be the same, everyone to get the same, and everything to be uniform. And the developers, every time they would talk, the executives would shut them off and go, this is how we're doing it, this is gonna work. But literally the whole product was designed around a rollout. Yeah. And they closed every customization you could ever want or need, and it buried the ranking of virtually every dealer for a year until they introduced the customization. Because Google doesn't want the same website.
They don't want 14,000 websites out there or 4,000 websites out there with the exact same information. That's actually totally. See, here's the thing. You guys are going to understand. Google and actually other major technology companies that do understand this, right? It's the old Radio Shack analogy, right? You got questions, we got answers. That's it. That's right. It. I mean, it's ChatGPT. It's the same thing. You got a question, you got an answer. Every human will be drawn to that very simplistic need of, I have a question. It used to be I'd have to go to a stack of books, right? And then it used to be Ask Jeeves, and then it was. You remember Ask Jeeves? So now
I remember Alta Vista. I remember all of these,
right? Like,
very dated.
And it was Google, and it's like, and I gotta be honest, Google hasn't been overly great at answering questions. I've been drawn to ChatGPT. I find it, I'm planning this new ski trip with my family, and I'm having a much better experience asking questions and getting answers with that solution than I am at this current other solution. But at the core of it, right, it's the customer. And I think that's, for everybody out there watching and listening, I know we're getting towards our tail end of our time. All right, but at the core of it, your customer has to be at the core. of your tech stack. All right. If it's not, then this is where you'll see all of these mistakes made. Now, don't get me wrong. We still have to balance technology, people, and process. But you got to put the objective of creating a loyal customer at the center of all of that. Hey, look, I know we're getting towards the tail of our time, Adam. Any final thoughts, though, before we let everybody go?
I think you're right. If you're mystery shopping how your technology works, you're mystery shopping how your salesmen handle it, get the tools out of the way that are in the way. And one of the biggest things I never hear anyone say is, I ask them, who's your top salesman? They say it's so-and-so. I said, great. What technology are you putting in place so we can sell 10 more cars? He's got the capability. Why aren't we giving him an assistant? Why aren't we dealing with the dumb crap he does that doesn't equal selling cars? The dude's got skills. And how many leads is he not chasing because he's too busy selling the 30 cars to take all of his time to do it? Like, everyone likes the dude already. Let's empower him to be even bigger because he's got something working there.
And then let's take the data that we're collecting off of him and let's get the rest of the team up to his level.
Yes. Right? Yeah. And that's a weird thing I will do when I'm working with a dealership is I'll go find that salesman, sit at his desk and say, what's slowing you down that I can affect? Because what's keeping you from moving more cars? Because if you move more cars, I look better as a marketing website dude, I'll go take your complaints to the boss because I got his meeting next. So
100%.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Hey, for everybody out there watching and listening right now, we really appreciate you. Hey, Adam, real quick. I don't think we've totally completed this conversation. I think there's still more that has to be had about this conversation. So if anybody out there watching and listening right now would love to connect with you, maybe continue some parts of this conversation, what's the best way to do so? Or anybody that wants to learn a little bit more about Savvy Dealer, guys, you got to go check that out. I love what
So we got a website, savvydealer.com. You can also call and just ask for me, 813-501-3229. I love talking about this nerdy stuff at any time. But hit the website, message me on there. I will get back to you quick. I'm happy to reminisce on the way why this world is as crazy as it is and how we can fix it.
Sweet. Hey, Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. This has been an absolute blast. For everybody out there watching, listening right now, we appreciate you. All right. Hey, one of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is to share the show. That means so much. Look, I know you ain't going to like, you're not going to subscribe, and you'll barely make a comment. I get it. Okay. But, all right, if you got a colleague or a manager or a friend that needs to see some portion of today's conversation, the biggest compliment you can ever give us is to share the show. It means a lot to us. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch today's episode. We appreciate you. You guys have an amazing day. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Driven Loyalty Podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Happy podcasting.